Hello, I am Watu, the Watcher. Marvel Studios' presentation at San Diego Comic-Con 2026 had a lot of surprises. More so than anything else, it let me know I needed to go ahead and finish Phase 1 of our MCU Reboot series before anything else is revealed. So with that being said, let's flesh out the rest of Phase 1, the Golden Age. We started with a Captain America film disguised as a war epic. This film will be uploaded to Disney Plus without the usual marketing of a MCU project. No trailers, no interviews. Marvel Studios will shoot this movie with elite cinematography, reminiscent of the likes of a Christopher Nolan or Ridley Scott. To ensure that the film will get seen, the marketing team will pay several comic book content creators to post saying things like, "Everybody should go to Disney Plus right now and check out this film called Liberty, generating intrigue and hype." It will look like a realistic war film, shot extremely well, about a young American soldier stuck behind enemy lines alone. On his lonely journey, he will gain friends and lose them repeatedly until he is saved by one soldier, who we find out is Captain America. The young soldier reveals himself to be a man named Bucky. They are ambushed by Arnim Zola and Hydra soldiers. Captain America is somehow knocked out by Zola. A portal then opens behind Cap's body, and black tentacles grab him and pull him through. Zola and his henchmen then exit through their own portals, and Bucky is left alone once again. Bucky stares into the distance, where Captain America once stood. Silence surrounds the atmosphere. The film cuts to black and the title of the movie appears, with a slight adjustment fading in. The credits begin to roll. Then we are interrupted by a mid-credits scene. Black goo squirms in the dirt. A mason jar slams over it. "Well, that's peculiar," a man says as he's holding the jar up in the sunlight. The black goo moves around in the mason jar. A gruff man in camo pants, a wife-beater, and dog tags around his neck walks past the man holding the jar. He has a lit cigar in his mouth. "Quit fucking around, we need to find the captain," the gruff man says. "I thought Canadians were polite," replied the jar man. The gruff man puts the cigar out on the palm of his hand and walks off screen. "Shut up, bub. We should document this," the jar man says as he begins to put the jar in his satchel. "Put it in your purse, Howard," the gruff man says, annoyed. After Captain America Liberty, we will then go to the criminal island of Madripoor in the next film, Wolverine Madripoor Nights. This film will pick up where Liberty dropped off. Logan and Howard Stark have been looking for their friend Cap. His trail has led them to Bucky Barnes, who is stranded in Germany. He informs them of what happened to Cap, and Howard is able to trace Zola to Madripoor. Howard devises a plan that Logan ignores and goes on his own journey as Howard and Bucky try to find Cap their own way. Logan is hit with flashbacks of him and Captain America fighting in the war together, finding a prisoner camp ran by Hydra. But this camp is different, as the prisoners aren't regular humans. The camp seems abandoned until they find a boy by himself. He shows to have supernatural powers that he can barely control, and they take him in. The team reunites when they confront Zola, who has Cap held captive. Also, the boy from the flashback is there too. The boy is angry at both Captain America and Logan, hence why he is with Zola. Logan is able to convince the boy that Zola is not on his side, and the boy crushes Zola's metal android body with his super-powered ability. It seems the boy is stronger now and more in control of his power. Still not fully trusting Logan, the boy runs away angrily, while Howard, Logan, and Bucky take Captain America back to New York City to heal him and figure out how to stop Red Skull, Hitler, and Hydra. We last left off with a 7-episode television series about the original Human Torch, Jim Hammond. The first android to be indistinguishable from a real human, but its flaw was that it kept combusting into flames. This series follows the journey of one flawed machine who yearned to be perfect, and in turn learned to accept its flaws and use them to overcome obstacles. In this series, a celebrity businesswoman named Vicky Murdoch turns out to be the main antagonist, Asbestos Lady. I wanted to use a low-tier supervillain from the comics, but make the corny name fit the era of the early 40s in this retro, futuristic world. They battle in the end, then she's arrested, but is dying from prolonged exposure to her own products. Before she passes, she accuses the Human Torch of being her employee who dumped toxic waste in the ocean, complete with video evidence. The series ends on a cliffhanger, with us not knowing if the Human Torch is innocent or guilty. Then we are left with a post-credit scene of New York City slowly beginning to flood before we see a huge wave about to crash into the city. Next up, in the Golden Age phase of the new MCU, Namor, the Submariner, and the Human Torch. Long title, but one epic action-packed comic book movie. The movie opens with Prince Namor flooding New York, demanding the whereabouts of the one named Human Torch. The police attempt to hold off Namor as Officer Jim Hammond tries to cool the heads of both the angry NYPD and the furious Prince of Atlantis. Forced to reveal himself as the Human Torch to save lives, Jim springs into action in a battle of fire and water to stop a brewing war between humans and Atlanteans. Namor is furious with the land dwellers for breaking the Land and Water Treaty, but learns that the Human Torch was framed by Asbestos Lady before she died. They stop the imposter Human Torch and are recruited by director Rick Stoner of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a top-secret conversation. We are then treated to a Marvel Studios special presentation, The Outer Circle. The Outer Circle follows international man of mystery, Howard Stark, on a top-secret mission that's yet to be uncovered. Is he a playboy? Is he a businessman? Is he a spy? Who really knows? In the vein of a James Bond film, Howard travels the world infiltrating the hidden dealings of governments in order to make a proposal to S.H.I.E.L.D., an international peacekeeping law enforcement agency. Stark finally manifests a meeting with Agent Rick Stoner, informing him that there are greater things to know. Stark, backed by the mysterious Outer Circle, helps Agent Stoner form a new superhero team. But the Outer Circle holds secrets that even Howard Stark isn't aware of. In the mid-credit scene, we see Howard on a video phone call with his handler, Mr. Wolf. After they hang up, we are taken to a round table in a dimly lit office. There are name placards at each seat reading, "The Machine, the Money, the Love, and the Revolution." Mr. Wolf walks to an empty seat at the round table with the placard, "The Power," written on it, and sits down. He then says, "With the emergence of superhumans and super technology, this sinful world is not fit to run itself, so we must continue to run it for them." Howard Stark is unaware of the triple deception going on in front of him. Stark thinks he knows secrets, but his secrets have their own secrets. The post-credit scene sees President Roosevelt in conversation with Vice President Henry Wallace. Wallace convinces the president to fully embrace the superhumans publicly, encouraging him to be the president of the mutated majority during this time of war. The president, giddy with excitement, makes calls to the press, while VP Wallace smiles with a sinister grin as his eyes begin to glow red. The Avengers movies are known as the big team-up movies where all the individual MCU heroes come together to face a big threat. I think it's time to add a new team to the film franchise. And since we're in the 1940s, what better team to introduce other than the Invaders? Following the events of Wolverine Madripoor Nights, Captain America, Bucky, and Howard Stark returned to America after defeating Zola. Red Skull was able to escape, and Logan stayed back in Madripoor. Tired of being a team player, Logan takes a flight to Japan. In a meeting with Agent Rick Stoner, Cap, Bucky, and Howard are introduced to Namor and the Human Torch. They are informed of Nazi sleeper agents recruiting Americans. It turns out that the sleeper agents are led by Baron Blood, a Hydra vampire who is turning Americans into undead vampiric Nazi soldiers invading the country from the inside. Baron Blood is defeated, but propaganda of Captain America belonging to Hydra has hit the airwaves. Captain America has publicly been arrested. The victory is bittersweet. Feeling betrayed by the fake arrest, Steve Rogers leaves his Captain America persona behind, becoming Nomad, leaving the entire world wondering, where has Captain America gone? Mid-credit scene. An evil super soldier named Master Man, an evil Atlantean U-Man, and Baron Strucker have Winston Churchill hostage calling for the Invaders to surrender to Hydra. Post-credit scene. Inside the RAFT, Howard Stark is hiding Steve in the unfinished vessel. He hands Steve a retro-futuristic tablet with designs on it. U.S. agent? Steve asks. Howard says, I think we should rebrand your persona. Steve doesn't like it, and Howard snatches the tablet saying, You're right, it doesn't fit you. Whispering to himself, Howie, you're just too ahead of your time. The Watcher's note. The Invaders title is a double entendre. It represents the superhero team's name because they are invading enemy lines in Germany. But also, the Invaders speaks to the horde of Hydra vampires secretly growing inside the U.S. In case Captain America ever defected or died, several precautionary measures were taken by Agent Stoner to make sure America had another super soldier to take his place. One such program, Project Rebirth, secretly experimented on 300 or more Black American soldiers. Led by a genome scientist named Dr. Stasis, they ended up killing every soldier. Everyone except Isaiah Bradley. Thinking every soldier to be dead, they closed the program and burned the evidence while Bradley escaped with a Captain America test uniform. He fled to Europe, inspired by the original Cap, and fought in World War II. After finding out about his escape, the military called him a traitor and demanded his arrest. Bradley met and fought alongside the Invaders until Namor turned him in, gaining Bradley a life sentence. Being held inside the newly finished floating superhuman sea prison called the RAFT, Isaiah Bradley is sitting alone in his cell. Howard Stark and Steve Rogers are arguing over Isaiah's freedom and capture in an office. Howard claims he is just doing his job, and Steve argues that his duty is to humanity over man-made authority. Suddenly the lights go out and smoke fills their room. Howard points to a gas mask as he passes out. Steve grabs the mask and leaps outside to see who the intruders are. Meanwhile, on the outside of Isaiah's cell, we see a figure walk out of the shadows into a moonlit view. An African voice says in English, "You are not a prisoner here, not today." We hear the sound of sharp blades swipe at the cell, opening the doors. Isaiah Bradley is now a free man once again. After the beautifully dark and twisted Captain America Red, White and Black, the fans could use some light-hearted fun. Looking to use Ryan Reynolds until he is 90 years old, we give you Deadpool watches the Marvel Universe up to this point. In this film, Deadpool turns on his Asbestos Girl-themed Stark Industries television as he takes us on a journey recapping all the previous movies, TV shows and special presentations while inserting himself into these stories in a sort of accurate recap of the new MCU so far. All before this phase comes to a conclusion in the next film, The Invaders, The Coming of Union Jack. Captain America is missing. Red Skull is still at large. Hitler is dead. The Nazi regime is dismantled, but Hydra has taken its place. Masterman U-Man and Baron Strucker still have the British Prime Minister captive, and our heroes must put a stop to all of this before it's too late. Howard and the rest of the team have tracked down Churchill with the help of Britain's super soldier, Union Jack, and fight his captors in a hard-fought battle. U-Man seemingly kills Namor. Union Jack is able to kill Masterman. In a last-ditch effort, Baron Strucker uses an ancient artifact, the God Whisperer, to call on Hela to fight for him. It calls Thor instead. Thor kills Baron Strucker and leaves angrily. Churchill dubs the heroes the Invaders after they saved his life, and they go to track down Red Skull. In a final standoff with Red Skull and the Hydra army, the Invaders defeat the army, leaving only the Red Skull. Steve Rogers appears out of nowhere to help the fight, and he's brought company, the Black Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, and King T'Chaka, the Black Panther. They're almost a match for the Red Skull, but it seems he's gotten abnormally stronger and faster since the last time they fought. Red Skull is making easy work out of them. With everyone down, Steve uses everything he has left to try to stop Red Skull. Bucky rises up to help Steve but is killed. In a fit of rage, Steve finally bests Red Skull and beats him to a pulp. Stopping short of killing him, he plans to bring the Skull in to answer for his crimes. This allows for Red Skull to grab his Tesseract and open up multiple multidimensional portals, pulling various things through them. Red Skull escapes into one, and Bucky's body falls into another. Steve screams in agony and despair as the rest of the team collects themselves for another bittersweet victory. Steve Rogers, T'Chaka, Jim Hammond, Lord James Falsworth, Union Jack, and Howard Stark are awarded several medals in a public ceremony. In the midst of the ceremony, Isaiah Bradley is asked to serve out the rest of his sentence, even though he helped save the world. T'Chaka steps to free him, but Isaiah stops him and willingly goes back to prison. Is this the freedom we fought for? Is this victory? Is this liberty? Mid-credit scene. The current president of the USA is having a conversation with someone. When you said you could guarantee me the presidency, I didn't think you'd kill Roosevelt or Truman. That was very, sinister, Mr. Essex. Well, Mr. President. An ivory white-skinned man in a blue tailored suit laughs maniacally. Post-credit scene. Sometime in the future, a young man in a lab is studying the black goo Howard found at the end of Captain America Liberty. He finds something interesting and makes a phone call. Howard. Yes, Doctor, Howard says sarcastically. I've sent you something regarding your black goo. Check your email. Howard looks for a moment, then he replies, Pack your spacesuit, Mr. Richards. Looks like you're going to space. And there you have it. The golden age is over. Phase 1 of the new MCU is complete. Make sure to subscribe for the next age of the Marvel Studios reboot. Can you guess who will be appearing next?